Real-Time Car Show. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Everybody wants to go to a car show, and we're the one that's out.
Yeah, that's it. We're there for you.
That's right.
And we're going to get back out on the road when we can get back out on the road. This is Houston's most in-depth car show, In Wheel Time. Streaming right now on Periscope, Facebook, YouTube, InWheelTime.com, and all those other things that you see is behind right there. Time now for Konrad's Car Clinic. And today we're going to talk about oil viscosity. And this is actually a story that I posted on your Facebook page.
From Hagerty.
From Hagerty, yeah.
On the Hagerty Insurance newsletter.
And I thought it was fascinating enough to send it to you to see whether it was worthy enough to make our show.
Oh, no, definitely it was. You know, we're now seeing these low viscosity oils, and one of the questions are, how good are these oils for a vehicle that you want to keep for a long time?
It's like sewing machine oil.
Well, there is a 020 oil out there that's actually quite popular, and then there's another. Most of the 020s are full synthetic. There's also a 520 that is a synthetic blend. So you have to understand, first off, is the numbers of engine oil. So a 0W20 oil. 0 is the viscosity of the oil, and W means winter. 20 means the viscosity of the oil at operating temperature. So, and it sounds odd, but they do this with viscosity modifiers. When the oil is colder, it's thinner. When the oil warms up, it gets thicker. Now,
what did you just say? Run it by me again.
When the oil viscosity is
when it gets hotter,
it gets thicker.
Really?
Yeah. Well, viscosity in itself is a liquid's resistance to flow. People understand it as thinner and thicker, but it's a resistance to flow. So a 0W oil in cold temperatures is a thinner oil than a 20 oil is once it reaches operating temperature. And they do that through viscosity modifiers. And if you kind of wondered what a viscosity modifier is, you know the old New Year's Eve party favors that, you blow in it and it extends out and flaps and makes the noise, kind of like a snail.
I'm very well aware of that one.
So that is, if you look microscopically at a viscosity modifier, that's kind of what it looks like. So it retracts itself into a ball when it's cold, and it makes the fluid less resistant to flow, and then when it warms up, it extends itself and it makes the fluid more resistant to flow. So it changes the viscosity of the oil just through the technology available. And that's, pretty much everything is multi-viscosity oils right now. But one of the things that's out there as well is there is a 016 oil that's spec'd in a Honda product, which is super thin oil. So one of the questions is, there's a lot of differing opinions about the longevity of these 0 weight and 20 and 16 weight oils, and how does that affect the lubrication and the long-term durability of the engine? Really, it doesn't at all. You need to, and I say this all the time, you need to use whatever spec'd oil your manufacturer calls for.
Why?
Because that's what they built the vehicle on.
The engineers looked at it and said, this is what will function best.
Correct.
Even though that it's a 50-year-old vehicle, and back in, then it was then it would have been a 10W40 or whatever. 1040, 2050. So you stay with that.
Stay with that. There's really no reason to change the viscosity in your oil. You can kind of move around a little bit. It's not really going to hurt anything. But if your car was spec'd for 020, stay with 020. The thing I argue about is all of these manufacturers have switched to these long duration oil change intervals. So, they're saying use a 020 oil and 10 or 15,000 mile change interval is okay. I totally argue with that, and I argued with that when I was with General Motors as well, and many times we're told to sit down and shut up. And
you're still being told that.
I know. But,
I'll tell you that right now.
But sometimes that oil life interval is driven by the marketing department, not the engineering department, because they want to advertise we are a low cost of ownership car. Oh. So in 24,000 miles, you only have to change your oil.
Are you kidding me?
Oh, no, that's very, very true.
Oh, my gosh.
So I'm a firm believer in a oil that is a synthetic blend to change on the 5,000 to 6,000 mile interval, on an oil that is a full synthetic, changing on the 6,000 to 7,000 mile interval is fine as long as you're using a quality oil, and you need to use the spec oil that it calls for, and especially in these low viscosity oils. The other thing you need to do is you need to let your engine come up to temperature before you beat on it. When you look at a lot of these turbocharged engines, that are running this low viscosity oil, if you fire the car up and you take off out of the driveway and you're beating on it already, the oil is still cold, so it's still at that zero viscosity winter weight if it's cold outside. Once it comes up to temperature and the viscosity modifiers change their shape, then the oil gets thicker and it does a better job of protecting. So you really need to let your engine oil come up to temperature before you start hammering.
How long would that be, sir? Depending on the temperature, I guess.
It depends on the ambient temperature. I'd say here in Houston, 3 to 5 minutes is probably more than enough.
And I heard somewhere that somebody said, "Oh no, start it up, drive it right away." Well, why? Why would they say that?
I really don't know.
Does it have something to do with
start it up and drive it is fine, but start it up and hammer it is not.
Oh well. Yeah.
There's a difference.
Yes.
Well, there's a difference in some people.
Conrad, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
The question is, you've got the different ratings, the 0s up to 5s and 10s. Different manufacturers have different requirements or different things. You've got imports that are closer to the 0 versus some of the Euros are in 5s and some of the Americans are in the 520s, 530s. Is this the case?
Oh, very much so. You're looking at, like I said, Honda has a 0.16 oil out that is spec for some of their cars. Most of the domestic manufacturers have gone to a 520, 0.20 or a 520, trying to get more fuel economy. The lower the viscosity number, typically the second number of the viscosity, the better fuel economy the vehicle is going to get. Microscopically, but it adds up over a period of time. When you look at a lot of the European stuff, a lot of the Porsche, Audi, and especially as you get into the M and AMG engines, you're talking 1040, and like a Harley Davidson takes a 2050 oil in it. So that viscosity changes again based on the manufacturer's specification, and you need to use the manufacturer's spec oil for your vehicle. Thank you, Conrad. You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Are we done?
Yeah. You gave me the roll of the fingers, so I'm done.
You might want to rephrase that because
once I start talking, I
know that it was below the table, so people couldn't actually see me do that. I'll do it up here but
that means
I
hurry up and
gave
get
you
finished.
the figure just doesn't quite ring right.